The movie opens in a dystopian future where mankind has totally obliterated Earth, making it uninhabitable. Prolonged wars and air pollution have led to the catastrophic events, including floods that have left the Earth wrecked. In an attempt to save humanity, the military intervened and shipped a small chunk to another planet called Nova Prime. For 1,000 years, no one has stepped foot on Earth, so when a father-son duo crash lands on it, they might fight fiercely for their survival. In the opening scene, our young protagonist Kitai lies down on the verge of death on Earth. The events of the yesternight flashes through his mind as their spaceship came crumbling into Earth's atmosphere. His dad, who was out looking for him, with his belt unfastened, was shoved away when they hit turbulence. Though the mystery duo survived the fall, his dad was badly injured and rendered immobile, marking the dawn of a long nightmare for them. The movie then cuts 3 days before this in Nova Prime, where we meet a powerful Commander Rage, who also rounds up as Kitai's father. He rose to power after revealing his bravery by fighting alien beings called Ursa that terrorized his community. Despite them being blind, they detected pheromones from people produced as a result of fear and tore them apart. His fearlessness made him invisible to them, and he eliminated many, consequently earning respect in the process. However, his new achievement put him away from his family as he coached other platoons. One day, Ursa attacked Kitai and his elder sister Senshi while the parents were away at work. To protect her younger brother, Senshi put her in a bell to prevent the Ursa from sniffing him while she attempted to fight it. However, the beast easily mauled her down while a terrified Kitai watched, following her instructions not to leave no matter what. Cut several years later, Kitai has grown into a relatively young gentleman and joined the forces as well. Despite his vigorous training and dedication, the team's commander fails to accord him a ranger, saying he isn't ready. This is closely tied with the traumatic event and his cold father who barely spends time with him and scolds him for minor mistakes. Seeing this, Kitai's mom pleads with Rage to mend his relationship with his son as she adores him. This makes him rethink his family life and actually decides to take the next mission as his last before retiring. He picks up Kitai alongside him to mend their relationship, and he is happy to join his decorated father. In this mission, the team endeavors to train a captured Ursa to line with them as part of their weaponry. The beast is contained in a cocoon at the back, and Kitai goes for a look afterwards. The beast immediately notices him as fear engulfs him when he recalls his last encounter with such. Later on, Rage wakes up following an abnormality in the ship's movement, something the pilots haven't caught wind of. He is positive that something bad is coming their way and heads to the cockpit for deliberations. True to his speculations, an asteroid storm hits them, sending the ship into turbulence. Rage immediately heads over to Kitai and helps him brace himself, but shortly afterward the ship accidentally enters Earth's atmosphere with a bang. The ship is broken and many people are sucked out and Rage is thrown off track. Kitai passes out as the ship comes crumbling down and finally crashes in the middle of the night. The following morning, Kitai sluggishly wakes up after mysteriously surviving the fall and immediately goes looking for his dad. Luckily, he survived the fall, but has unfortunately suffered severe injuries, including a broken leg, rendering him immobile. This doesn't threaten him much, knowing they have a distress beacon on board that can relay information home. However, he is shocked to find it broken, leaving him with the option of using a second one located on the ship's tail. Unfortunately, the tail broke from the body and fell off 100 kilometers away from them. Rage is able to track it down using the ship's systems, which haven't broken down yet. It becomes evident that Kitai will have to traverse the dangerous terrain by himself to retrieve it, failure to which they will die. Firstly, his dad offers him 6 air filters to enhance his oxygen intake for the 4-day journey, as Earth's air is still toxic. He also gives him his fighter cutlass and medical kit before activating his virtual imaging to monitor his movement. He promises to guide him to success and watch over him, especially from Ursa, since they don't know if it survived the fall or not. His journey is also broken down into sections, as he has to find geothermal nodes every night to stay warm, as temperatures drop drastically at night. With this, he sets out for the mission and moves pretty fast, encountering no obstacles. He is taken aback by the beautiful sceneries, unbeknownst to the people of Nova Prime, and takes a moment to admire them. As he enters the rainforest, his dad, on the other hand, suffers excruciating pain from his badly broken limbs. Though he contemplates taking painkillers, he resists as they will cause him dizziness and obstructed sight, jeopardizing his watch over his son. Instead, he sends over several probe drones to cover a wider area and specifically track down Ursa if it managed to escape. This decision proves useful as he catches wind of an animal closing in on Kitai fast and alerts him. It's a baboon, and he asks him to remain calm. However, unlike his courageous self, Kitai panics and attempts to flush the baboon, which then calls out for its mate. They give him a chase, and Rage directs him to run, heading for a nearby river, and they stop when he jumps in. Despite this, he keeps on running in terror even after the confirmation from his dad that everything is alright. Shortly afterward, he collapses, prompting his dad to track his vitals and realizes an infection in his bloodstream. He has been bitten by a venomous insect, but his dad has him as he directs him on administering an antitoxin. He then lays down for a moment as the dose does its work, but he is woken up later on. He hasn't made it to this hotspot, but his training does him well as he makes a run for it. At nightfall, the duo converses as Kitai grows curious to know how his dad learned to ghost the Ursas. He is surprised to learn that an Ursa almost killed him in the first place. Having nothing else to lose, he finally stood up to it, and that was it, as it built courage in him onwards. As Kitai goes to sleep, Rage, on the other hand, surgically creates a bypass on his leg, following the computer's recommendations. As he experiences the pain, he has a recollection of his adorable daughter Senshi and their strong bond as he slowly drifts to sleep. The following morning, Kitai embarks on his journey, but this time faces his long-term fear all along. He finds some baboons' mutilated remains, which when cross-checked by his dad, reveals the possibility of Ursa's signature killing. He is forced to run for their mid-checkpoint, and his dad inquires about his supply count. Kitai, who is devastated to find 2 of his filters broken, lies about it, but he easily notices from his heart's fast pumping. He orders him to reveal it to him and immediately cuts short the mission, saying he won't make it there with only 2 filters remaining. However, Kitai remains adamant and vows to push on, as going back is a guarantee of death. This brews into a fight of words as they drag the past into it. Kitai isn't ready to follow orders, as following his sisters before saved his life but lost hers. His father indirectly thinks Kitai should at least have tried, but he turns against him, saying he was never around to take care of them. Kitai puts it to rest, declaring he isn't a coward, and jumps off the waterfall cliff, leaving his dad wowed. As he dives down at a terrific speed, his dad once more notices an oncoming bird, which turns out to be a massive condor. Despite his efforts to outfly it, it eventually closes on him and captures him, damaging his comms in the process. He wakes up later in its enormous nest as its newly hatched chick pecks his ear. He is terrified to see a pack of evolved cats trying to enter the nest and eat the chicks. He puts up a fight to protect himself and the lovely chicks, and together with the condor, manages to kick them out. However, the chicks suffer collateral damage and die in the process, leaving the bird broken. Kitai, who is now by himself, plots his journey, recalling his dad's directions, and pushes on. As he does this, the condor hovers above him, which scares him, but moves on regardless. After making a makeshift boat from logs, he soars down the river, and Senshi appears to him in a daydream, encouraging him to move on as he is close to making it. Suddenly, he springs from sleep as temperatures drop abruptly at nightfall, and he hasn't made it yet to a hot spot. He sluggishly walks and finally collapses, with his death becoming imminent, but suddenly something drags his body and covers it up. The following morning, he wakes up to find himself covered by the condor as a gesture for fighting for her chicks, but unfortunately succumbing to the cold in the process. This buys him enough time to make it to the wreckage and successfully retrieves the distress beacon. He also finds air filters and takes a dose as he has been down on it before reaching for the comms. Luckily, they are still intact, and he makes contact with his dad, who is happy to hear from him after unsuccessfully looking for him using the drones. He asks him to confirm Ursa's escape, and true to it, it managed to get out. On top of this, Katai can't fire the beacon as a huge cloud above him is causing electrical interference and derailing it. To make it work, he will be forced to fire it from a nearby mountain peak. As his dad gives him these new orders, it's clear that his situation is worsening by the minute as he grows weak and falls off. Katai immediately starts his ascent and Ursa easily tracks him down following his pheromones release due to fear. Katai narrowly survives its attacks when it catches up with him and makes it to the top. However, with nowhere to hide, he is forced to defend himself but is shortly put down by the powerful beast. As he takes in his potentially last breath, he recalls his dad's story and immediately decides to act on it. While standing to it to fight, it roams around catching no wind of him, while Rage watches speechlessly in his dire situation. Katai finally manages to fight and overcome it and finally fires the beacon to the sky. Later on, a prompt rescue mission is put underway and the father-son duo is saved. Rage is finally proud of his son and stands up to salute him in his bad state, and they embrace each other. The movie ends as they are airlifted to Nova Prime for treatment as they plan to start a new career as planned. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed the content and share in the comments any movies you would like us to recap.